Hello, students of MA semester 2nd who have opted American literature as their paper. This video is for them. Now we have seen that there is a word Harlem, Harlem Renaissance. So first we should know what is Harlem. Harlem is actually a place in America near New York. Now what is the relation between the city Harlem to the American literature? So very soon we must know that there are the Africans who were living there in America, particularly in South America, and they were used as slaves by the aristocratic people living in Southern America. And now North America has initially was liberal, and they were in the favor of the freedom from slavery for these Negroes. So the North America and South America, these are the two poles. So one South is against the Negroes and North is in the favor of Negroes. So North always talks about the rights for them. And now we see that the first war happened in 1914 and it continued up to 1919. Now the reason is that from 20s to 30s, this is a period when the Africans, they are called African Americans. So they moved towards the place Harlem, and they gathered that place and started living there. It was the area not very long, but it was the area only 900 miles square meter. So they started living there, and now it was a kind of change in their lives. Before that, the Africans were treated as animals. They were tied with the neck and they were forced to work into the fields and other places, and they were they were given the food. So the, you can say, inhuman behavior of the aristocrats towards these slaves, it has become their fate, and they have accepted it as their fate. There was no voice against it. But after the First World War, there is a kind of awareness, a kind of awakening. It entered into their minds, and now they are feeling a kind of change in themselves. So they moved to North America, and there they established at the place Harlem, and they started their lives there in a different way. Now they are no more slaves, one thing. Second thing, they have developed themselves according to the Americans. So they have started clothing like the Americans. They have started their music, art, literature, everything. There is a new kind of awakening into all the fields. So today you might have heard a name jazz music. So jazz music is actually the product of these Afro-Americans, and now it is very popular, and they have started it, a kind of new music, and they started clothing like Americans. So it is a kind of amalgam of the clothes used by the Africans before it, and then they have adopted the style and fashion and clothes of the Americans. So it is a kind of amalgam of those two things, and now they are they started wearing the very loose pants and loose shirts hung on their bodies, and the round hat they started wearing. And now this hat is used by both the male and female. So a kind of different look they started to wear. So this they have made many groups, the music composers, the singers, the writers. So they have started giving a new kind of magic. Perhaps they have gained a kind of confidence in them which was lacking by then. So now they have accepted America as their country, but their mental agony is not destroyed, it is not removed. And now what is the literature they have given? It is very touchy and tragic, because they have expressed their pains, their problems, their difficulties, their exploitation, the stories of their torture into that literature, and therefore the literature is very touchy. And in literature also they have developed their own writings. A number of writers started writing, and in art a number of artists, they have grown up and they started making new art, new paintings. So in this way, this whole period, 1920s to 1930s, this whole period is a kind of renaissance for them, a kind of reawakening, a kind of recreating, a kind of reproducing the things. So means to say that this whole period is called Harlem Renaissance. And now a number of poets and writers, they have started writing. A number of writers they have come into the light, and now the name Langston Hughes is very important in this you can say this group of writers, in this group of poets. Langston Hughes has composed a poem entitled as Dreams. Now what is the dream? Entitled Harlem. In that poem Harlem, one Afro-American Negro, he looks a dream and he wants the dream to be fulfilled. Now there are a number of questions before him. He is in doubt whether he will complete his dream or not, whether it will be fulfilled or not. So he raises a number of questions in the form of doubts into this poem. Now we will see this poem is very short, of 11 lines poem, so we will see it later. First we should tell that he is doubtful about the dream. Living in America, he is in doubt about, because you know that racial prejudice was a great problem there in America. In 20s and 30s, it was too much at the top of the torture, and the condition of the Afro-Americans was not good. But when they moved towards Harlem and they started their own life in a new style, they started gaining a kind of confidence. They have accepted America as their country. They have accepted as they were. Means a kind of inferiority complex they have removed, and now they were looking at themselves as they are. There is no need of any change. If they are black, may it be, they are black, so their color is black, nothing else. There is no reason of inferiority in them. So like these, the confidence given the many fruits, and now those fruits are in the form of language, style, culture, music, art, literature, every way. So this is Harlem Renaissance. And now we must know some other writers popular into that age. So first is, I told you, Langston Hughes. The second, if you want to write down, so please note it. So second is Claude McKay. Third is W.E.B. Du Bois. Next is Zora Neale Hurston. Zora Neale Hurston is again a great name in the literature, because being a female, she has written against the torture, against the exploitation of the South Americans. So these are famous writers of this Renaissance period, Harlem Renaissance.